Hey, before we get into today's episode, if you're a podcast host or guest, listen up. I've produced over 200 podcast episodes and guested on 50 podcasts just in 2025 alone. And let me tell you, nothing grows your audience or builds trust faster than being in front of the right listeners. That's why I created my podcast tour offer. I'll help you map out your topics, strategize your message, and find you the most aligned podcasts and audiences to get you and your business in front of. So if you've ever thought, I just wish more eyes were on my work, this is your sign. Let's get you on a podcast tour. You can find all the details in the show notes. Just look for podcast tour. Now let's dive into today's episode. All right, I'm back. And if you're already guesting on podcasts anyway, let's clean up the ending and stop sending the listener to your social media. There's a lot better options. I'm going to tell you about them right now. So you get to the end of the podcast and we're skipping over a lot of pieces here. So go back to other episodes, listen to the whole process if you need that, or go jump into my free podcast matchmaking community. The latest version of my Audio Authority Masterclass is always linked in the resource tab. And that's a great place to start as well. But if you're ready to really get nitty gritty and clean up some specific things, one being the ending of your podcast guesting experience, this episode is for you. So you're likely sharing your social media where people can find you. Fine, great. Often the host will ask you to do that. And so you end up doing that. But I want to make sure that you also state or that you completely replace this with the exact next steps for them to take. The best thing you can do is make sure that you have something set up, a lead magnet is what we usually call it, to grab their email address and get them onto your email list. So if you do not have an email list started, you absolutely need one. You do not own your social media. Sending them over to your social media is like a wish and a prayer, and you never for sure get to get them in a place where you can really nurture them and really send them things about your offer and your other tips and advice and whatnot that they can take and use of value. So people get stuck on what should this lead magnet be a lot. I get asked like, are PDFs dead? Are they overdone? And I do think they've been overdone, but I think in the right way, they can be really useful. Like I just downloaded a PDF version of something, someone's lead magnet that was on my show a few weeks ago, and it was phenomenal. So I'm not saying that they can't be done, but here's where you can take my example and help you think of yours. I was guest speaking on podcasts, as you likely know, in 2025, I did 50 episodes. And in the beginning of that year in January, what my lead magnet was a getting started guide for podcast guest speaking, which was a PDF downloadable. And it did get downloaded here and there, but not a lot, a couple a week, let's say. When I really thought about it, now I can see why that was. One was the things that were in that guide were already the tips, basically just regurgitating what I had already explained while I was guesting on that podcast. So there's not a lot of value for the listener to go download that and see that same layout that I had just gone through in the podcast. So what I worked on November of 2025 with my coach at the time was, what's the next step? If someone is listening to me talk about guest speaking on podcasts, why you should do it, where you can start with it, and they decide, yes, I'm all in, I love this idea, I'm going to guest on podcasts, what's the next step? The next step would be they want to get booked on a show. They want to make this happen, right? I launched in November 2025 my podcast matchmaking community. I've already referenced it in this episode. It's in the show notes, but it's for hosts and guests to connect easily. They both get a chance to fill out a short form about their speaking topics or the topics that they want on their show and how they want to be communicated with. And so that's a great place. And the next step, that's a great win for someone listening to the show to be like, yes, I'm going to go dive in, get in that community, find a show that I'm a fit for, and reach out to them because I already know that they're looking for guests because they're there. And so it doesn't feel like this big ordeal. I got to get a pitch ready and this and that. You just say, I'm in the community with you. I saw you're looking for this. It's me. Right? So that makes sense as a next step. And it was clear to me that this was the right lead magnet for me because within a week, 10 days of launching this, I had over 100 people in it. At this point, there's over 400 people in it. It's growing every week, which means there's new connections, new people, and a reason to keep coming back to it each week, each day for people who are already in it. So it made a lot more sense for me in my business that this is my new lead magnet. And then the signs were there that I finally nailed it. And I want to tell you that I had tried a lot of different things in a lot of different niches, in a lot of different spaces. Over 8 years in business, I've had PDFs, I've had videos linked on YouTube that they would get a private link for. Like I've tried all the different kinds. Nothing popped off like this. So don't be discouraged like, oh my gosh, I could never be able to hit that or do that. It's going to happen for you, but your lead magnet that you currently have might need some tweaking. Maybe it's the same as what mine was, where you're already sharing all the best pieces within that episode that the host has already asked you about. And so now we need to revamp it into what is next. So when you're guest speaking on that podcast, that visibility is like the top. I'm not a marketing guru, but it's like the top of the funnel. New eyes, new audiences, aligned people are starting to see you, become aware of you. Then that next piece is what's next for them. This is the next step. So think about that and think about what is that for you and your business and what does that look like? Because that's where the magic is going to lie with your lead magnet. And that is the thing that you want to share over and over at the end of a podcast episode and direct people to it nonstop. Also, make sure that it's evergreen, meaning it's never going to go away, so that if someone finds you 6 months later after your podcast episode airs, it's still there. So it's not like a live masterclass that's on X date and now someone sees it after that date and it's gone. Have it set up so that they can still access it no matter when they come across this episode, because podcast episodes are searchable. The titles and things are all SEO. So it is very likely that someone can find this while they go to Google or a search engine much, much later than when it actually airs. And having this set up is also going to allow you to start making social media optional within your business. You guest speak on the podcast, you get that visibility, you're in front of new audiences, the aligned people say yes and sign up for your lead magnet. Now they're on your email list. Treat your email list with the utmost importance as a business tool that comes after the guest speaking that you do on the podcast. All right, there you have it. Go do it. Think about it. Double check your lead magnet. It's a very important part of making this guesting experience work for you. See you next week. Hey, before you go, if you've ever wished podcast guesting or hosting felt a little easier, you're going to love this. I started a free podcast matchmaking community where hosts and guests can actually connect, swap shows, and find aligned conversations without all the cold pitching and chaos. It's totally free, it's super fun, and it's growing every day. So whether you're looking to grow your audience, get in front of the right people, or just finally get your message out there, come join us. You can find the link in the show notes to join the community.